best in podcasts, the best in town. You want to get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Thames, if you want to go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana and Great Falls. I'm Rebecca Ingham.
I'm Shannon Newth.
And we're no damn experts. Today.
And the light bulb is going off across the table.
I'm glad I got a little bit of a preview to some of this. So guess you're going to have the greatest benefit today to see me unravel something I think I know.
Ooh.
And I'm not super confident in this, but we're going to see if we can get some hints along the way to see
like this is like a game show.
if I can connect the dots here. So,
Okay. And this is the fun part about scheduling and not telling you anything about it and you showing up to see all those pieces come together.
Okay.
We're excited to welcome our guest today, Shari Jenkins Schmidt. Shari, thanks for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're excited. And do you have anything you would like to, any tidbits yet? Okay.
Not yet. I'm waiting for pieces to unveil themselves before I dive too far into this.
Yeah. So I invited Shari to come join us today for a variety of reasons that we'll get to. But one of them being you are an artist and creator and a lover of preservation, if I remember seeing that correctly.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk about your designs. But first, we just want to hear a little bit about you. Are you from Great Falls? How did you get here? Your life story.
I was raised on a ranch southeast of Big Sandy near the Bear Paw Mountains.
I do know who this is.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I'm excited. Keep going.
Okay. Well, our family, to me, has a very rich history because our great-grandfather homesteaded the ranch.
Mm.
And today my two sisters and I still own it and lease it out to Brian Gasfoda from Big Sandy. Anyway, the ranch itself is 35 miles southeast of Big Sandy, so it's pretty remote.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a great way to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, I learned such a great work ethic. I had no brothers, so my two sisters and I, we had to learn to work hard.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I grew up there. Then after high school, attended Montana State University.
Woo, woo.
And then, and actually I ended up graduating from in the last class of Northern Montana College before it became MSU Northern. And and then married and had some children, and my husband was with the power company for 45 years.
Wow.
Okay.
So because of that, I feel blessed that I was able to live in 9 different Montana towns over the course of my life. So when he decided to retire, we really wanted to come back to Great Falls. We had been here earlier and just loved Great Falls.
What were the other towns you got to live in?
Okay,
let's see if she remembers.
Fort Benton.
Okay.
Big Sandy, Havre, Bozeman, Zortman for 14 years.
Oh my gosh.
Butte, Helena, and I'm missing a couple. I can't think. Lewistown.
Okay.
Oh.
And I can't. There's one more, and I'm not getting it. But
You've covered a lot of the state. Yeah,
we have, and it was a great experience to be able to experience all of that part. The many parts of the state.
Yeah. So you settled back here in Great Falls, and what's taken up your time while you've been back in retirement?
Well, initially, we bought the Collins Mansion.
Yes.
Over on the northwest side. And when we bought it, it was a bed and breakfast. And I am a huge preservationist. And while it was a wonderful place for a bed and breakfast, the building itself was really used hard and needed a lot of restoration work. And I'm very specific. A lot of people will say, have you been remodeling or have you been renovating? the only word in my vocabulary is restoration. I really like to preserve things. And so for a number of years, we worked just on restoration work in the home. And it's just the most wonderful place. And we no longer have a bed and breakfast there, but because so many people have memories there, they got married there, they spent their honeymoon there, we welcome people to come and visit the home. We don't want to open it up for parties anymore because we want it to
Be
last.
your home.
Yeah. Yeah. And but anyway, that has taken a lot of effort.
Wow.
It really did need a lot of work.
I don't know if you have a memory with Collins Mansion, but in my previous employment, we did a murder mystery Christmas party dinner at the Collins Mansion.
Fun.
I am such I'm going to say voyeur. Like my favorite thing is to walk around historic districts at night when the lights in the home are on, so you can kind of see in.
Peek in the windows.
Because I would be the type of person just to be able to walk up to the door and go, "Hi, could you walk me through your home?" And I know that might put some people off, but that would be my dream, as if the world was just more open to me knocking on the door to take a impromptu tour of your home. That would be fantastic. But I used to do this a lot in Lewistown with a friend of mine. She'd call like right as it was getting close to sunset. She's like, "Do you want to go for a walk?" I'm like, "Of course I do. Let's hit this street tonight."
Nice.
And it looks bad, but we're just walking through. I'm
Like
like,
you're
"Oh, look at
casing
that!"
the neighborhood.
But it's just we want to be able to see these beautiful homes that exist
Right.
and catch some type of glimpse. And then, of course, as we're walking, create stories about the people who must live there and how wonderful their life might be. And
That's a whole book series you could do.
that's my life.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you know about the history of the Collins Mansion? Because it's known as the Collins Mansion. It has a legacy in Great Falls. I've heard of it, but I don't really know any of the backstory of the Collins Mansion.
Okay, it was built by Timothy and Lavinia Collins, and Timothy came from Ireland, and his family settled back east, and then as a young man, he came out here and was doing some mining, and then he became an attorney and a banker and a state legislator and a sheep farmer.
Oh my goodness.
Sheep rancher, I should say. And that's how he met Lavinia. He had sheep over near White Sulphur Springs, and Lavinia was from White Sulphur Springs. And it's rather an interesting story about their home because going through the archives at the History Museum here, we found out that Timothy and Lavinia actually built a house on the other side of the river. And this house was just being finished, and it was New Year's Eve, and there had been some workers in there putting shellac on the woodwork. And so they left the windows cracked open that night because of the fumes. Well, a hobo got in and started a fire.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
And so the house started on fire, and the fire department was called, but because of all the New Year's Eve revelry, they thought that this was just a part of the night's events. And the house burnt to the ground.
Oh my goodness.
Before they could even move in.
Can you even imagine?
Yeah.
I know.
I would be some kind of livid.
Yeah. Yeah. So then Timothy and Lavinia decided to build on the other side of the river. And I don't know if this is true. Rumor has it that Timothy and Paris Gibson had a bet on which side of the river was going to develop first. Well, obviously, Paris Gibson won the bet.
Yeah, the downtown area. Yep. What we know is downtown now. Yeah.
So then Timothy and Lavinia in 1891 built this house over on the northwest side. And it's kind of sad. Timothy really didn't live a whole long time after the house was built. And then Lavinia stayed on for quite a few years. But Timothy, he was president of a bank in Fort Benton and one here. I mean, he was just really an amazing pioneer of the era. Area.
Yeah.
So...
And where is, you said it's on the northwest side of town?
It is.
You're home now? Yeah.
Yes. It's if you go down Central Avenue West, Eklund's, it's just kind of 2 blocks back of Eklund's.
Okay, gotcha.
Back in there.
Yeah.
So, folks, this would be a nice place you can drive by and imagine what it would have been like to live there. Don't knock on the door.
Well, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that because the historic register plaque is right by the front door.
Oh,
And
so a lot of people must
want to see. Yeah.
They do. I'll look out the window and see somebody standing on my porch, but they're there to read the history.
Yeah.
Which I think is great.
Yeah, I think that's both amazing and unnerving.
Yeah, right? It is.
Like
it kind of is.
You have to kind of expect it. You bought a historic home, but at the same time, you don't always expect people, just random people, to be standing on your porch.
No.
Well, and it's better now because when we first moved there, people were used to it being a public place.
Oh, sure.
And just walking in. So, I would come downstairs and there would be these people in the foyer wondering if they could get a room for the night. And I finally learned I needed to lock the door.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
What restoration work, or how are you taking steps to preserve the home?
So we one of the common things is we refinished all of the wood floors. And I think the floors in that home are one of the most notable things because they're all of this inlay. There's in the foyer, there's like 5 different types of wood in the floor there. And early on when the home was built, there was a young reporter from one of the newspapers here that went through, and he wrote about the fact that each room has different wood. One room is birch and one is oak and so on. And because of that newspaper article, which we found at the archives here, I can't say enough great about the History Museum, it really provided a lot of information. But there were things that happened in the home before it was a bed and breakfast. Some folks owned it. And the only original bathroom was on the 2nd floor, and it had all this encaustic tile on the floor. Well, these folks put a hot tub. They took out the old clawfoot bathtub and put a hot tub in there. And the weight of it and the water crushed the encaustic tile and the pipes below.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
and so
they're heavy.
Yeah.
I know. So this is what's sort of ironic. The folks that bought it after that and turned it into a bed and breakfast, Connie, I'm not sure what Connie's last name was, but the other gal was Diana Ungeier. And Diana and I grew up together in Big Sandy and graduated from high school together.
Oh my gosh.
So it's been really great because she has been a wealth of information for us, because when she and Connie bought the house, it was really a wreck. And they did a lot of electrical and plumbing and the not so fun stuff to bring the house back to where it needed to be. Anyway, I give Diana so much credit because this bathroom where all the encaustic tile was ruined, she looked and looked and looked and somehow found this antique encaustic tile.
Oh, my goodness.
And redid that whole area and then put a clawfoot bathtub back in there. Excuse me.
Wow.
And it's amazing. I mean, you literally cannot tell. She did such a good job. Yeah.
How nice that someone before you did that.
Right.
I know. And I often say Diana did the hard work and I got to do the more pretty fun stuff, you know? So,
yeah. Well, thank you for restoring what is such a interesting piece of history, but more importantly, hopefully making it so it's something that can last another 100+ years, which is crazy to think about. But when you look at communities and they just tear down old buildings or tear down old homes and build something different, it's fun to be able to have what has been there and preserve it in a way where it can withstand the next whatever number of years.
And one of the things too, that's exactly why I always tell people, if you would like to come see the house, I love giving tours of the house. And one of the things, I have been a collector of Montana history my whole life. So not only is the home historically interesting, but the house is full of Montana art and artifacts. And so there's just a whole lot to see there that's really, really fun and really all about Montana.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Chapter 1.
I just want to go come
You
hang out
girls
at your
need to
house.
come over.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm so intrigued. And I imagine it's one of, if not the oldest in that neighborhood, correct?
It is.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because when you drive up, there's all these little newer houses around and then this big old, very old house in the middle of it all.
Yeah.
So
Because
It is interesting to come upon it. Like if you don't know that it's there and you're just driving around in the neighborhood, it's like you enter this whole other dimension and you're like, why is this house here?
Well, and it's so funny because my son, Jerry, who is now, and he just actually graduated from Columbia with a degree in a dual master's in architecture and historic preservation.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
And this boy was really inspired by the architecture here. And I remember as a little boy, we were doing exactly what you said. We were driving around and all of a sudden, here is this house. And we're like, oh my goodness sakes.
Yeah.
And then he just loved it. So when he was little, he would often ask me to drive by it. And then years later, we moved to Butte and then moved back here, never dreaming that
would become something that was part of your story.
So,
Wow.
Yeah, so it was neat.
That's really neat.
I love Butte's one of my favorite towns to do this in, actually, is just to drive around. Like I'm just going to start taking any street I can and then just lefts and rights and get lost. But when you're able to do that through a community, you get to kind of see a little bit more of what made them who they are today. You get to see some of the houses.
Right.
You get to go, well, what is going on here that this has happened? Or all of a sudden we're now in this area and that seems weird to be connected to that. And I think if you drive those side streets in any community, especially even in Great Falls, you're going to see some of those stories unfold for you.
Right.
Which then prompts me to say, come and get your Northside Historic Residential Tour, one of the other walking tour brochures where you can learn a little bit about why those things might be existent. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that seems like a whole completely different chapter
I know it. That's
to
so
the
neat.
next chapter in the book of who Shari Jenkins Schmidt is.
Yes, so that's one element of preservation and artistry that you have is your home.
Really.
And then
yes.
you also have right now the display that it was Feather Your Nest with a business in downtown Great Falls along Central Avenue in the 300 block.
311, I think.
Ooh, nice.
Am I right?
It was actually 2 stores to begin with. So it's forever been one store, but it actually has 2 addresses. It's 309 and 311. And then 311 and a half, which is the third doorway that takes you up to where the Beckman's family lived and the ballroom.
Oh.
This building is, so Lou and Candy Zanto owned the building and had Feather Your Nest there for many years. And I give them so much credit. They did a tremendous amount of work on the building, primarily on the main floor. And then in 2022, my husband and I purchased the building from them. And now this is going to sound really crazy. Well, you probably know since my home is filled with Montana stuff that I'm a scavenger and I love thrift shops. Anyway, over the many years, I have collected Santa Clauses.
Oh.
And, I'm continuing to surprise you girls, aren't I?
Yes. Well, my mom is a bit of a Christmas nut, and she has like a tree for every corner of her house, and her house isn't that big. And so when you said Santa Clauses, I'm like, I can get on board with this. It starts to make a little sense.
Yeah. Well, I've collected them and have a great many of them. And for years, I had a friend in Butte that I would always tell her, Marilyn, I am going to start a Santa Claus museum someday. And I would tell my family, and they were like, yeah, right. But Marilyn believed me. And anyway,
Did she feed this passion as well by
Yeah.
gifting you Santa Clauses often?
Oh, yeah. And she was always on the lookout at the thrift shops for me.
It's always nice to have a friend like that.
I know it. I know. Anyway, so when we purchased the building, the ballroom was in tough shape. The plaster ceiling was compromised, and there were holes in the plaster walls. And what is so cool about the ballroom, it was initially just one big room. But in the 1930s, the Beckmans built a beautiful stage at one end. And then every year they would have their style shows up there when the new first came.
Sure.
They also built a bar in there. So it's
Good
a small bar.
thinking. Good thinking.
Yep.
Anyway, so the restoration work in the ballroom took nearly a year. And we had to put 2x4s all the way across the ceiling up through the plaster into the studs above to stabilize the ceiling. And then we sheetrocked over it. We wanted it to look as original as possible. So that was the way we were able to take care of that compromised ceiling. And the thing that was so tough about it is they had 2 lifts in there because the ceilings are tremendously high. And so they had 2 small lifts in there to take the sheetrock up and whatnot. Anyway, there's not an elevator in the building. There's a lift, but it doesn't go to the second floor. So this huge ballroom, those lifts and all the sheetrock and all the other materials had to come up the front stairs.
Oh my goodness.
And that's the address I said is 311 and a half.
Yeah.
It's separate from the store itself. It's a separate entrance. Anyway, and the light fixtures were long gone. And now today it's just the most beautiful room. It has 7 great big red crystal chandeliers in it. And we redid the stage lights. We rewired everything. That's one thing about old buildings that I'm always scared of is wiring. I always, if we can address it and take care of it, we do.
Yeah.
And so the Santa Museum is scheduled to open October 1st of 2026.
Ooh.
And so I have a volunteer right now helping. She's photographing the Santas, and then we're documenting them or cataloging them in Past Perfect, which is a software for museum collections and archives and that sort of thing. So
Before we jump into the Santa thing, I am intrigued. I love touring like old houses, like any mansion that does offer like this is the daily tour of this mansion. I'm like, sign me up for that. But one of the things that had always surprised me, we were down in Butte, and just this last year made my husband go on this historic mansion tour.
right.
So we were in Missoula. We went to Hamilton to do the Daly Mansion. Then we went down to Butte, and I made him do the Clark Chateau and the William Clark Mansion. So there's a lot of mansions that I like to tour, but I've always been surprised that the second floor or the third floor has the ballroom like that up there. And even in the Daly Mansion, the second floor is where more of the living happened.
Right.
So you said the Beckmans lived on the second floor. Was there other rooms besides the ballroom? Was there like a living room? Was there bedrooms? Was there kitchens? Was there any of that?
So it is just the most remarkable space. First of all, there was a very large empty area, and Candy Zanto had mentioned to me that when they started, it was just kind of piled with garbage. And so when she had Feather Your Nest, she had that little bistro in the back. And so they had this little gal that was managing, the bistro. And they decided to build an apartment upstairs for her to live in.
Oh.
Well, they built this small apartment, and Candy designed it, and it's absolutely beautiful. The building has 6 skylights.
Ooh.
So there's a lot of wonderful light up on that second floor. Anyway, they finished the apartment, COVID hit, the bistro closed, and no one ever lived in the apartment.
Oh. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What a weird theme so
no
far
kidding.
for your story.
I know. Yeah. Anyway, this space is just amazing. It's just the most beautiful space. So Lou and Candy had done all of that. And then what was left up there was the ballroom that needed so much work and the Beckman's home. And the Beckman's home is a time capsule. Oh my gosh, it is so amazing. So Mrs. Beckman had 3 different types of hand-blocked painted wallpaper
Oh, wow.
in the home. And one section of it was where you have to go into the ballroom or over to their home. So when they were working on the ballroom, I was really nervous. And Mel Carver Construction did all of the work up there. And I was always like, oh, please be careful of that wallpaper. And they were so good. And it survived without a scratch.
Wow.
But anyway, so there's 2 different types of Asian wallpaper in the home. And then there's cowboy wallpaper, which was such a cute mixture, you know. But anyway, and then the Beckman's apartment, too, had some real serious issues. Another skylight, there's 2 skylights in that apartment. One had leaked seriously, and they have all since been replaced. But it had ruined the sheetrock all around. And it was a major undertaking to restore that as well as the ballroom.
I bet. My
And
goodness.
so we've just recently finished with the Beckmans. We still have one small project left in there, but it's amazing. And people keep saying, well, are you going to rent it out or rent the other one out? I'm not, because the Beckman's home is just such an amazing time capsule. I would rather share it with the community by giving tours if somebody asks. And then to take a chance on that history being, ruined in some way. So
I'm ready for my tour whenever you want.
Right. I know.
To
Anytime.
extend the
Please.
offer.
Yes.
Oh, anytime.
I
I love to do it.
I love
So-
going to the upstairs of so many
Yeah,
of these
so
buildings
enjoy.
downtown, whether they're restored or not.
Yeah. And the Beckman's apartment, when you look at the front of the building, you see that whole bay of windows across the top. That's their apartment. That's their front room. And then one end of it is the master bedroom. And so all those big windows look down over Central Avenue, and it's such a cool view.
That's really
Yeah,
neat.
it's just really, really a neat place.
So is the ballroom then on the back of the building or just down further?
So when you go up those front stairs, the Beckman's apartment is kind of to your left, and then the ballroom is back and behind their apartment.
Okay.
And then the new apartment is more to your right and forward.
Was the new apartment carved out as part of that, or was it a space that was not originally attached to the Beckman?
Right. From
home?
what Candy explained to me, it was just an empty space. It wasn't part of the home. It wasn't part of the ballroom. And it sounded like over the years, people had just kind of piled stuff there and
Kind of like storage.
became a catch-all.
Yeah.
So, so anyway,
Wow.
again, I give Lou and Candy so much credit because they are the ones that redid the front and back of the building, put a new roof on it, replaced all the skylights. And again, like the Collins Mansion, I'm fortunate because I step in and I get to do the more
pretty
fun
stuff.
stuff.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, and the building, because my husband and I are both in our 60s, had Lou and Candy not done all that work, we probably wouldn't have taken it on at our age because it's those.
Sounds like a lot of work.
a lot of work. Even just maintaining a building
Yes.
like that is a lot of work.
So, did you have the intention of the Santa Claus Museum when you bought that building? Because I
Yes.
remember
Okay.
when Feather Your Nest started their liquidation and shift into something else. So,
Yes, I that was the big selling point for me was that ballroom and the potential that it had, and I thought it would be a great place. The only problem with it is at this time there's not an elevator. So down the road, that is our goal, hopefully, is to put a small elevator in and have it be ADA accessible. And so so that's kind of, I wish it wasn't that way, because I would just like everybody to be able to just go up there anytime. But
Yeah.
we do projects as we can afford to, and
Makes sense.
looked into some grants too. But it seems like with the Montana History Foundation, most of their grants are for exterior work. They don't want to, and everything we had to do was interior.
Oh,
So it seems like a lot of grants are targeted more for exterior and keeping the look,
the facade.
Yeah.
Wow.
So random question, with the Santa Clauses that you have and all the other intricate pieces of history that you have, are you going to be having any of your collection entered in at the appraisal fair that's going to be here in Great Falls at the History Museum?
I would love to, but honestly, I am so darn busy. I have not signed up this time, but I really would love to. I have some pieces of Montana history that I would love to get Tim Gordon's thoughts on. Yeah.
I'm so excited for this event just to be able to sit and watch it, because the things that people have in their collections, whether they realize it or not, and they just pull it out for other people to see, and you get to learn about it and then learn, oh, it's worth $20, and people are like, wah, wah, wah. Or this thing's worth $800 million, and they're like, oh my gosh.
I know. And sometimes, isn't it funny? It's the most random thing that's worth $800 million.
Right. You're like, who would have known this thimble was that worthy?
Right.
It's just been sitting in a drawer unloved for a long time.
Yeah.
So you've talked about the top floor of the building. Is that the only area of the building that is got stuff going on in it?
Oh, this building is so cool. It has such history in it. So the floor, the main floor where Candy had Feather Your Nest, was such a beautiful store. Anyway, I've leased that space to Deanna Kraus Yatsko, and she has a store in there now called 406 Creations and Curiosities. And it's an amazing store. It's hard to explain. You just got to check it out.
Okay.
Anyway, so she's there on the main floor. The back area where the bistro is, our plan is to do exhibits there. And long-term plan is to do exhibits in half of that retail space too.
Yeah. And
we've started out small. We've done 2 exhibits now in the front windows. The first one was wonderful. Laura Hustis, Dan and Laura Hustis owned Falls Construction in Great Falls, and then his family before owned it. Anyway, Laura and Dan are both 89 now.
Oh my gosh.
When Laura was 14, she started working for the Beckmans.
Oh, wow.
Oh my.
And oh my gosh, she has the stories to tell. And you should see her. She just runs up those stairs to the ballroom, and she was so excited to see where the Beckmans family lived after working for them for a number of years. But anyway, our first exhibit was on Laura Hustis and her the time she spent with the Beckmans, and she had her mother's Beckman's fur, and one her mother bought her, and one that was Dan's, and several others. And so that was a really fun exhibit to do. And then, of course, now we are honoring Norma Ashby because this year is her 90th birthday.
Incredible.
I was just with Norma last week, and she's been a guest on the podcast. So if you want to know more about Norma Ashby Smith, go back and learn about her. But I would never, when she told me how old she was just this last year during the Feisty Women documentary, I'm like, no. And she's like, yeah.
I know. She is as sharp as a tack. And she's all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, just the last few weeks, she's been to her cabin several times over by Lincoln. She's been to West Yellowstone. She's been to Glacier Park.
Yep.
I hope I make it to 90. And if I do, if I can only be like Norma, I admire her so much.
Yes.
She just doesn't quit.
No.
There is no quit in her.
No.
And I often, and this is just a personal aside, but if the surgery that she had gone better, I think she'd still be sprinting around.
Oh, I do too.
Yep.
Yeah.
that is the only limiting factor for her.
I know.
Is some exterior force.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It's
know.
so true, though. She's still plugging away. I chatted with Dwight and Norma last week because her 90th birthday celebration is going to be quite the event.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
we're going to be pulling a piece of the Feisty Women documentary, the section on Norma. They're going to show part of that documentary that we produced with Norma at her 90th birthday party, but they're just collecting all elements of her life for this 90th birthday party. And it seems like in your display and collection, you're pulling from all those areas in her life too.
We really did.
Yeah.
And she had me design the birthday invitation. And we really pulled from a lot of photographs for that because we did it in the old large letter style, the 1940s postcards. And so, yes, pulling all of those elements and photos from her past. And then just the elements that are in the exhibit. Oh my gosh, her cowboy hat and her leather vest.
Yeah.
With
From
all
Western
the
Art Week.
and signatures and then we have also her Victorian dress from the Montana Centennial in 1989. And then she is an honorary member of the Blackfeet. And so we have her Native American dress on display in the window as well. And it's just a really fun display. Oh, and I have a cute story to tell you.
Yeah.
So I did her name in vinyl lettering in the exhibit. And my son, Jerry, who I mentioned earlier, I was talking to him and I said, I'm trying to decide, Jerry, should it say Norma and then Ashby in smaller letters or Ashby in a different font? He said, Mom, Norma is to Montana what Cher is to the rest of the world. No last
Just
name
Norma.
needed. So that's what we did. We just called it Norma. Yeah.
Very appropriate.
Yeah, I thought so too.
That's neat.
So, yeah.
What? Tell me why you're doing these exhibits. It's amazing. I think it's astounding just to be able to have a storefront where you get to learn a little bit more about our community. But obviously there's no revenue attached to it. So you're just doing it for the love of design and history?
There is no revenue attached to it. You're right. It may bring people into Dee's store. But I am doing it because I truly believe that there are so many women here in Montana that we need to recognize and honor. And Laura Hustis and Norma, and I have a whole bunch more that we're going to do. I have a list a mile long of exhibits that pertain just to Montana women that we will be doing. And as I mentioned, eventually we're starting in two of the front windows. Eventually we'll move into that back bistro area with the beautiful skylights and then continue doing this. And so I'm really excited because I see it really growing. And again, it's just, I don't know why, but I just feel so strongly about honoring the women of our state.
Yeah.
And so
that makes me excited.
We're getting a good start.
Well, I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Well, obviously, I think it's amazing. We did the Feisty Women documentary of the Feisty Women that existed here in Great Falls. So
Right.
And we'd love to
have
share more of their stories as you create these displays. We'd love to have you back to talk about these different women.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, yes.
Preserving and digging up that history, because sometimes we don't know the names until they're brought and you see, oh my gosh, look at this impact they had.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's the case with Laura Hustis. I think, a lot of people know her, but had no idea that she worked for the Beckman's family. And she actually started in the back room where they were tanning and working on hides, and then eventually worked her way up to the sales floor. And then when she was a senior in high school, the Beckmans would go to market in San Francisco and New York. And they wanted to start taking Laura with them.
Oh, wow.
And Laura just thought that would be the greatest thing. But her folks, they farmed out at Highwood, out by Highwood. And she said her folks said to her, Laura, neither one of us graduated from high school. And we've worked really hard to save money for you to go to college. And so we really want you to do that. So when she graduated from high school, she did quit working for them and went off to college. And she said she went to Oregon and she had so much fun that her parents made her come back to Missoula. She said she had way too much fun out there. Anyway, her parents said, okay, you need to come back and go to school in Missoula. So she finished her degree there. So
That's funny.
Yeah. So
do you know who you would do next after Norma?
You know, we have someone in mind. We haven't confirmed it yet, but it kind of in conjunction with Western Art Week. We'll run Norma's through the end of December. Her birthday is December 27th. So we wanted to run it through her birthday and then right away switch over to Western Art Week, which is in March. So we do have a particular artist. We haven't had a chance to visit with her yet, but she's an amazing Great Falls artist.
I'm excited about
Native
this.
American.
I'm excited to see who it is. We'll take bets on who we think it is, maybe.
I'll tell you off air who I think it is.
Okay.
So you've done this. Chapter 2. Let's is there a chapter 3? And I say that full well knowing that you are an artist in your own right as well.
Yes. And it's kind of a funny story. So when we moved, we lived in Great Falls for quite a few years, and then my husband was transferred to Butte. And when we moved to Butte, my whole career had mostly been as a fundraiser.
Okay.
And when we moved to Butte, the economy had kind of taken a nosedive. It was in 2007, right in that time frame. And for the first time in my life, I couldn't find a job. So we had bought this old home there, and we're working on restoring it. And one day I was working away, and my sister calls me, and she said, well, I mailed you a birthday card, but... she said, no, she said, I mailed you a gift, but not a card because they're expensive and they just get thrown out. And so I'm working on this house and I'm thinking, it's too bad there's not a card of some sort that could be reused. And a couple years earlier at the College of Great Falls, I had taken a Photoshop class. And the reason I took it was to learn how to restore antique photos that had like a missing corner or damage.
Yeah.
Well, in taking this class, I realized, oh my gosh, this software is incredible, the things you can do with it. So I'm thinking about this reusable card of some sort. So I come up with the idea of the bookmark card. And so they were a standard size envelope, 9 1/4 by 3 3/4, I think, or whatever. And so they were kind of a large bookmark, but I started using my Photoshop experience in designing the front of the card, and then on the back it just said message at the top, and then you could write your message, and at the bottom it said use me as a bookmark, preserve your memories in the environment or something. Anyway, so I was doing these bookmark cards and had them in quite a few stores and had some sales reps. And Jane Trumbull, whose father, Ed Trumbull, started Leanin Tree, found the cards in an airport gift shop in Fort Worth, Texas. And so she got a hold of me and she said, we have always been known as the Toothless Cowboy Card Company. And she said, well, while that's been a good thing for us, we would also like to kind of change it up a little bit. And she said, I saw your designs and bought some of your cards, and we're wondering if you might consider doing some artwork for us. And so I thought about it, and I said no. I said, my thought was, well, if I do that, then I'm kind of putting myself in competition with myself. And so anyway, and then a few months passed, and sales reps were, oh my gosh, they were just such a headache.
Yeah.
And I finally got to where I was like, you know what? All I want to do is design. I don't want to deal with distribution and manufacturing and sales reps and all of this stuff. So I got a hold of Leanin Tree and I said, listen, I would really like you to reconsider your offer if you
Put
would.
it back on the table. I'm ready to take it.
And I said, I will quit doing the bookmark cards so there's no competition for you there. And they said, well, it's okay if you want to keep doing them as long as you don't do the same designs as you would do for us. So anyway, in 2014, I started doing work for Leanin Tree, and I'm the only artist they have that does my own art, but also my own writing.
Oh.
Yeah. Most of the other artists design around writing that Leanin Tree gives them.
Okay.
Once in a while, they'll do that to me. They'll have a slogan or something and say, would you design around this to fit this? But anyway, I started doing that, and it's just been the most wonderful relationship. They're family owned, and I think they've been in business for well over 60 years, and now the second generation has retired, and they're in the process of selling the company to the employees.
Oh.
So it's really a neat thing that they're doing. But it's been just a godsend for me because they're in more than 20,000 stores across the U.S., and they're just the nicest people, just great people to work with.
Wow.
So does the 406 store that occupies the first floor of the old Beckman's building have your Leanin Tree cards in it?
Well, shame on me. Dee has been after me. Shari, I need their info. She wants to get the cards in, and I just have been so busy. But she's planning to. Yeah,
That's neat.
yeah. My line with Leanin Tree is called "Hotter Than a Pistol" by Shari Jenkins. Yeah. So.
And then you're still doing your individual bookmark stuff still, or you said, I'll just do Leanin Tree.
I just, if somebody comes and wants to buy, I have old inventory.
Okay.
My basement. Oh my gosh. Anyway,
Another
I'm,
museum in the making.
Anyway, I'm glad to sell them here and there, but no, I just really am so grateful to Leanin Tree and so appreciative of how they have treated me that I really don't. I just do for them. And I've actually had other card companies ask me to design, and I'm like, it might be more money, but no, I'm just very loyal to Leanin Tree. They've been so good to me.
Is there anywhere in Great Falls that carries your line of designs for Leanin Tree?
Well, I know North 40 does, and they have the individual cards, and then they also have these boxes that I think they have 20 designs in them. And North 40 carries, though, almost every town pump in Montana carries Leanin Tree. And it's funny, you'll find them in gas stations or nice stores. I mean, Leanin Tree's distribution is truly amazing.
Runs the gamut.
Oh, it really does. Yeah.
Which is really handy because sometimes you just need to grab a card at the most inopportune locations.
Right.
The number of times. This is more a reflection of me than society, but like I'll be on my way to a wedding. I've known about the wedding for a while, and I'm like, oh, I need a card.
Yeah. I
don't want to make a separate stop. So I'm in the gas station looking for cards because all of a sudden I'm going to a wedding I've known about for 3 months. Like, why do I do this? So I'm always helpful. It's always handy when you find those things in the locations that are the most convenient for you.
Yeah.
And they're not
really
weird cards. They're good cards.
They're beautiful
They
cards.
are. Yeah. And they really have a variety of designs that they offer. So
did you come up with the Hotter Than a Pistol? Or is that their
Actually,
directive?
That was Jane Trumbull.
Okay.
Yeah. She came up with Hotter Than a Pistol. Yeah. So,
cute.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of wrap us up with this story. First, I started off the podcast saying, I think I know who this is.
Yeah.
So let me do the end of the episode summary. That's a long story.
Okay.
Everyone who's ever lived in Montana, been around Montana, knows Montana. It is just one big small town with really long roads. We hosted some media here this last week, and even if you're not from Montana, Montana seems to make these connections for people. So 2 of the journalists that we had in market, one was older, let's go with 65-ish. The other 25-ish.
Oh, okay.
2 completely different publications, 2 completely different areas of the world. One was in the West Coast, the other in the East Coast. seemingly on the surface, no reason that they would have some strange connection. Day 2 of the tour, the journalists are all spending their time together. The older journalist starts telling us about his history and how he used to write poems and books and all these other things and how he's published. And they're like, yeah. By that afternoon, we had connected the young journalist with the old journalist that his mother had been the old journalist's editor and publisher.
Wow.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
And they're like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
How would we have found each other any other way? And I'm like, well, this is the beauty of Montana, first and foremost.
Right.
There's very few other places in the world, and I'll stake my claim on that, where you're going to happenstancely run into someone that is connected to you that way. This is commonplace in Montana for Montanans.
Right.
I am a graduate of Whitewater High School. And I was back home for some event and, talking as I do, because I love to fill any space with words and sound. And so one of my dearest people to me, Joanne Simonson Hammond, was telling me, because we were talking about art or Western Art Week or something, and she says to me, do you know Shari Schmidt? She designs greeting cards for Leanin Tree, and she lives in Great Falls, I think. And I looked at Joanne and I'm like, no, I have no idea who this woman is. And this is, Shari, this is 7 years ago, 8 years ago, maybe. So it's been some time. And she's like, pulls up this, starts searching on her phone, shows me, she's like, she does these kind of designs and this stuff. And she's an amazing woman. And I'm like, how would you just randomly know this? Because as much as I love and appreciate Joanne and she's a force to be reckoned with, I didn't know she was like this deep into the artist world or any of this. And I said, how do you know of this Shari Schmidt? And she says, well, she's originally from Big Sandy. And I said, oh, well, that all connects the dot for me.
Oh, my gosh.
Right,
So,
because I grew up with, or went to school with her husband, Howie.
Yes.
And the interesting thing is Howie's dad was our principal, but he was even my dad's principal.
Oh,
wow.
my gosh.
Howard Hammond was his name, and he was there forever. So he was a force to be reckoned with.
He was. And then he eventually went on to be a senator for our
He
area.
did. That's right.
And Howard spoke at my high school graduation as the keynote speaker.
Yeah.
Not that strange because I graduated with his grandson, Nate,
Okay, sure.
who is now the girls basketball coach in Malta.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Great.
So whole circle. And when you started talking about designs and I'm like, I think I know who this is. I started piecing them together. So I'm like,
oh, that's funny.
I'll be happy to tell Joanne, if you're listening, I finally met Shari Schmidt.
Oh, my goodness.
And everything you've ever said about Shari, Joanne, is perfyly correct. She is an amazing, wonderful person.
Is years in the
thank you.
making. My
I know.
goodness.
Look at you.
Wow.
Look at what you did.
Yay.
Thank
well,
you.
and I didn't know your connection to Collins Mansion or all your preservation work. I just saw some of your designs. And when I was talking with Dwight and Norma this last weekend, they were like, oh, Shari, a science card for Leanin Tree. And I was like, oh, perfect. One more thing we can chat about when you come in. So, oh my goodness, how fun.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Montana, one big small town.
It truly is. Yeah. That's such a neat thing, isn't it, though?
It is. It is
really
fun.
is.
It is also a good reminder. Don't use names in nefarious stories that you don't want to have come out to public. Because usually if you use names, this happened to me, then someone's oh, that's my cousin. And I'm like, oh, great. This is fantastic. Now this
so
embarrassing
true.
story is going to go back to them. And just keep your mouth shut, Rebecca. Good Lord.
Oh, Oh, that's funny.
So thank you for
Well,
coming
thank
on
you,
our
Shari.
podcast.
Thank you for having me, and I hope both you girls will come to
Oh,
both the
we'd
Collins
love
and the
that.
Beckmans for a tour soon.
Yes,
I would love to share
Love
it with
that.
you.
Thank you.
So.
Just set up a recurring appointment.
Yeah.
We will just come
We'll
like
just show
every
up.
time.
Yes,
And see the
please.
progress.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's just nothing more fun to me than getting to see all the old spaces in our community and to have those things from the past come back to life.
And
so
thank you
That's
for
so true.
preserving these pieces of Great Falls history.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're just truly a part of my heart. I just want them to be here for generations to come.
Yeah.
So,
well, folks, I am excited for you to just walk the streets of Great Falls, but mostly at 309 and 311 Central Avenue, where you will find currently an exhibit dedicated to Norma Ashby Smith, one of our favorite people. My final question for you, because this is something I ask Norma often, and then she just laughs and changes the subject. Maybe you'll have better luck. I ask Norma often, where do you want the statue of you erected in Great Falls? And she just, moves on. We need to have a location at some point.
yes.
She's 90. She needs to pick a location so that when we're ready, we can start
that
creating
statue.
raising all the funds to create that statue and put it somewhere.
I so agree. And Norma's influence, and it's not just Great Falls, it's the whole state. And so she really deserves recognition of that sort.
Yeah. I would like to get something done while she's still here so she can see it. I mean, we've done the
Absolutely.
documentary, but
A statue would be great.
some, even maybe one of those black and white murals that she started on one of the sides of the building.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
appropriate to have a Norma mural.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That would be very cool.
Okay, so there's our challenge. We're going to start today. I will lead the effort. Anybody who wants
Okay.
to join my cause,
Yes.
you know how to get a
Wow.
hold of me. So,
I'm on board.
okay,
All
awesome.
right.
Well, thank you for being here. And
Thank
folks,
you.
until we see your bright, smiling, happy, healthy face in our fine, fine city, we do hope you're creating amazing memories with your friends and family, wherever you might be. See you soon.
We're No Dam Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town. Damn, that felt good.